All right, guys, welcome back to the Jam Cave Studio here deep inside the heart of Japan tonight because we're turning Japanese on the show. And I've been working on this one for a long time. Super pumped about it. Couldn't do it without my great buddy over here, DJ Greg. What's up, dude?
Thanks for letting me come in and do this with you, dude.
Yeah, so I've been working on this show for a while, as some of you know, and I was, texting Greg some of the tunes and just kind of, introducing him to Japanese jazz a little bit, and then he was like, dude, this stuff's awesome. I gotta be a part of this show in any way I can, and I was like, hell yeah, man, let's go. So he's back in studio sitting across from me here, but he gets to relax tonight because this is a DJ BenZen set list, so no work necessary for Greg. He just gets to sit back and relax.
I'm over here styling. I'm just going to be like, so tell me about this Japanese jazz.
And we're drinking sake, too.
Yeah, gotta.
It's Nigori, but it's weird. It's like Nigori, and it's got like this weird kind of milky kind of thing going on, but yeah, it's pretty good,
unlike,
though.
We probably sound like total noobs, but like, yeah, it's unlike sake I've ever had.
And I'm drinking an Asahi, so I'm double fisting apparently.
You bad boy. So what was that first track, man? That was crazy.
Dude, that was Sada Watanabe. And I apologize if I get some of these names wrong. I've been trying my best to, look up how to actually say them. So, we're trying. Not going to be perfect, but Sada Watanabe is from 1973 off the album Open Road. And it's a live cut, and it's from my birthday, 1973, May 2nd. And it just fucking rules, right?
Wow. Yeah, no, it was pretty fantastic.
I mean, who does it remind you of, would you say?
I was going to say it sounded just like Miles from the early 70s, but a little bit more raucous and, more different kinds of horns.
For sure. And we'll explain maybe why Japanese jazz musicians liked Miles Davis so much as the show goes on, because this is going to be part jam session and I hope part like educational session too, because I did a bunch of research for this show, read a book, and, kind of been trying to connect the dots because I really like Japanese jazz, and I'm like, why do I like it so much? And it was interesting getting into the history of how jazz developed in Japan, not only as an art form, but also as like a cultural phenomenon, because as time goes on in Japan, it becomes more than just like fun music to dance to. It's like a really serious art form. And in fact, when you go to a Japanese jazz show, people are like dead quiet and listening very intently, like not even clapping a lot of the time and stuff. Whereas here, obviously, people are kind of, it depends like what jazz club you go to, but you're, a little more raucous, especially back in the 60s and 70s. It was like party music, right?
Yeah. No, but I mean, I have a lot of respect for that. The like, let's just focus on this thing, and like eliminate distractions.
I've always been fascinated by the culture. And also I'm into Zen, as a lot of you guys probably know. So there's a little bit of like Japanese culture in Zen as well, because like the Zen center I lived at for 5 years is a Japanese Zen lineage. So I'm into Japanese style and stuff like that a lot. Like you can see around the house here, I have some art that's Japanese, like Hiroshige, the guy who did the wave, the Great Wave. I have a few of his, and I just like Zen kind of stuff. So that's one reason why I like Japanese jazz, I think. But it's more about the sound, obviously.
Yeah.
And then there's like reasons why it sounds the way it does and stuff. And we'll go into those a little later as we go on. We'll kind of chip away at that and just, kind of relax, have fun. We're going to play a bunch of sick tunes, see where it leads us. I do have a set list though, actually. So a lot of times I won't have a hard set list, but this is I already got it figured out because I wanted the flow to be masterful, man. So
I love that.
So this next one, to continue the flow, is going to be kind of fusion-y as well. And this one is by Toshiyuki Miyama and the New Herd. And this band is awesome. So if you look up Japanese jazz, this will be like one of the first artists that you'll find.
Oh, okay.
And this guy, Toshiyuki Miyama, actually doesn't play in the band. He's just the conductor.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is kind of cool. So apparently when they play live or played live, he would be like in front of them, like, like a classical conductor, but it's jazz, big band jazz.
He was just a band leader, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of big bandy and kind of fusion-y. It's a really interesting combo. And this one's off the album Straight Ahead, which is one of my favorites. It's on the Wall of Japan over there, the Great Wall of Japan, which I turned my, 9 records into on my wall are all Japanese vinyls to set the vibe tonight just right.
Gosh, I hadn't even noticed. Okay.
Yeah. But this one's great. I think you'll like it. It's pretty unique and it's a heavy hitter. So it's a heavy hitter, but it starts off kind of mellow. You'll see.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. So going back to 1974 for this one from Straight Ahead. This one's called Fallout. So am I blowing your mind yet?
I loved that. Holy shit, that was awesome.
So good, dude. I've been waiting to drop that one for a long time on Jazz Mountain, actually.
That is such a cool track. And like they even like did like a little bit of a fade in the middle there with like there was so much to that.
It's so weird too how on the one hand it's like, fusion-y, the guy, is ripping that key solo, and like you said, for most of the time, for all intents and purposes, it's a trio.
Yeah, it's the keyboards, bass, and drums for like a good portion of it. But when the horns come in, it's weird because it's like, they're like big band style horns. So they almost don't fit, but somehow they manage to blend those two worlds. And it's like, it works crazy well.
I know, it's crazy because like if you listen to this band from like the late 60s when they became popular, it was way more like just straight ahead big band. And it's good, and it's very creative and intricate, and like they get a little bit weird and trippy and modally, but like this album is like where it's at, because it really combines the two in a weird way that like you wouldn't expect to work, but somehow it's like perfect. I don't know.
Yeah, and I gotta say that that riff that they go into during the sax solo is fucking killer. That's a killer little riff that they just keep repeating over and over again there.
Totally, and then that breakdown too, where like it's just the bass at some point in the drums. It's just like like
it's crazy.
3/4 in the song it like stops, and it's just like this cool like funky breakdown, and the horns come in.
What a cool track!
Yeah, man.
Love that.
Yeah, man. So that was Toshiyuki Miyama and the New Herd. And now we're going to hit another really, really famous Japanese jazz cat. Maybe the most famous one. His name is Terumasu Hino. Okay. And he's a trumpet player. And check out the list of people he has played with.
Okay.
Gil Evans.
All right.
Elvin Jones. Jackie McLean. John Schofield. Ron Carter. Herbie Hancock. Randy Brecker. Michael Brecker. Dave Liebman.
What?
Yeah.
Everybody?
Yeah, so he's the real deal. He might be the most famous Japanese jazz cat, actually.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
He played with everybody.
Yeah, so he went over to America in the late 60s and early 70s to kind of check out the scene. Because in Japan, apparently there's no like jazz teachers at this point because they all kind of learned by listening because they didn't have jazz over there really.
Wait, so these guys never took any lessons?
Well, this guy in particular is self-taught entirely.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. So the story goes, right? I mean, Japan's introduced to jazz through records in like the late 20s and 30s.
Right.
They get these records. It's a global phenomenon, basically. Obviously, mostly in America, but anyone who hears this shit's like, what is this?
Right. And they would travel across the oceans with like military people and such.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they actually were exposed to it from the Philippines at that time too, because that was an American colony basically. So that's pretty close to Japan. So they got a lot of Filipino records, like versions of American records from the Philippines, and then the Philippines had their own kind of jazz thing going on too.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So in pre-war Japan, it was like dance music basically. They'd put it on at like a concert hall and they dance to it, and then people kind of listen and figure it out. So if you were a trumpet player or a drummer or a bass player, you could play and you'd listen and be like, okay, I think I know what they're doing, and they kind of figured it out together.
Sure.
But then during the war, it was kind of forbidden to play jazz because the Imperial Japanese didn't want anything that was like American, basically, right?
Well, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So they kind of tried to shut it down because it was a very nationalistic, fascistic movement, right? I mean, it was like the government controlled everything. But the Japanese jazz musicians were pretty clever. They would like rebrand it as like a march song for the army. So it would be jazz and the government would be like, okay, cool, this is, Japanese. And like a couple other ways they would kind of get around it. But anyway, after that, they started to develop it more, but they were always a little bit like self-conscious, I guess you could say, that they were copying the Americans. Okay. They realized that their jazz wasn't the authentic jazz because they didn't invent it, right? And they were literally just like copycatting the Americans. So Terumasu Hino is influential, I believe, in developing a uniquely Japanese sounding jazz.
You know what's interesting about this is that it's almost the exact same story of how blues came to London and Liverpool and like became British and then got exported back to the U.S. as rock. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
And so it's like the same thing that's happening with Japan is the jazz is going over there and then like turning into something else.
Sure.
And, and evolving there.
Yeah, so we're going back 4 years for this one. This is from 1970, so it's not quite as fusion-y, right? Because even in America, what was Bitches Brew? 1969 or 1970, right? So
I'm terrible with years.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's either, I think it's 1970 actually, and so like it really hadn't happened yet because Miles Davis kind of invented that shit, really.
Okay, yeah.
So this is called "Into the Heaven" is the name of the album, and the song is called. It took me a while to find this song name. Let's see what I ended up coming up with here, because this song is actually not on the LP. But this whole album is great. It's really like spiritual and expansive. And it's like, like kind of like I don't know, like a meditation almost for the first part. But then this one is definitely a live cut. I don't think the rest of the album is, but this one's live and it just kind of rocks. But it's kind of like, more, straight ahead jazz. But it's got some quality about it that I think is uniquely Japanese. And we'll keep telling this story as we go along, but, Japanese jazz develops in a certain way and for certain reasons. But without further ado, let's jam again here so we can keep, the tunes rolling and the heads bobbing. But, you ready for some Terumasa Hino?
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
All right, let's go to the circus. Here we go. Little Japanese temple incense.
Nice. Okay.
Should have lit this a while ago, but had it around because I used to live at a Zen center and we used to use this. It's so good. I'll put it over here. But keeping the mood going here. And what did you think of that one, dude?
Holy shit, so good. It was really interesting. Okay, here's what I noticed. The drummer, I love that guy. He kept it moving through the whole thing. Fantastic. Piano player, fantastic. Loved everything he was doing. The bass player, so interesting. So not expected, right? So he would, during the solo section, so it's modal jazz, right? So like, they're just oscillating between two chords.
Yeah.
But like towards the end of the second chord, right when they would be getting ready to come back to the first chord again, he would like go way up in the high register and then just hang out and like not play. He wouldn't be walking. He'd just hang out on one note. And then all of a sudden he'd go boom, boom. It was very interesting and creative and cool and not something that most jazz bass players would do.
Awesome. Exactly everything I wanted to have you say. And like he just came up with that on his own. I didn't tell him anything. And I would say the lineup, we said we liked all these musicians, but like I just am kind of nervous to say their names. You know what I mean?
Fair
like,
enough, yeah.
It's like, so you like the drummer, that's Motohiko Hino. The piano player is Hiromasa Suzuki. And the bass player is Kunimitsu Ibana.
Okay.
So that's my like very white boy American way of pronouncing those names. But and then you got Takeru Murukawa on the tenor sax too. He was good too.
Yeah. Very cool track. Very cool.
Yeah, so that's exactly like what I wanted to have you hear in the song because, like I said to introduce it, it's straight ahead jazz, sort of.
Oh, it swung like crazy.
But there's something different about it, right?
Yeah, there is something a little. Yeah, it's just, you know what? When you were talking earlier about how they didn't often have formal training, you can almost hear it in the way that they're delivering the jazz. It's like they've got all the ideas, but they're assembling them just a little differently.
So that's probably part of the story, right? These guys aren't formally trained. They didn't go to like Juilliard or whatever.
Sure,
Like I mean, like they're picking it up from vinyls at Jasu Kissa or Jazz Kissa, which are like these little jazz record listening rooms where it's like a bar, and then like you put on a record and no one talks, kind of like the shows. Like you just sit there and sip on your whiskey and you like listen.
I've actually read that there are a number of them where like you could get kicked out if you talk.
You can't talk at all.
Yeah.
So these guys would go to these places, listen, learn. So that's the one thing. They're kind of untrained. And the other thing is that like Teru Masahino in particular like was interested in incorporating elements of Japanese folk music into jazz to make it uniquely Japanese, right? So I'm not sure. I'm not a musician. You're probably better at explaining this stuff than I am. But like they have different, rhythms, different time signatures. Apparently a lot of their scales are pentatonic, and they're very modal. They're not interested in, going from chord to chord really fast, like in American jazz, especially bebop or hard bop, right? Where the whole song is based on a bunch of chord progressions, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, that one's just 2 chords.
Yeah, that's modal jazz in a nutshell, right? You've got like oscillating between 1 or 2 chords, pretty much.
Yeah, so their harmonies like aren't that complex, right?
Okay.
And that's like kind of like Japanese jazz in a nutshell. It's like combining like raw playing because they're playing by ear with Japanese folk melodies, which incorporate different kinds of, elements that we don't have in Western music. Kind of like how Indian music, if you hear like Ravi Shankar, it's totally different than like anything we've heard.
Well, they
use
different scales.
Yeah, different scales.
And I guess what you were saying about the pentatonic scales, you showed me a thing about that because I think pentatonic scale and I think of the blues scale, which is basically the one that when you say pentatonic, people in America know it in a particular way, but pentatonic just means comprised of 5 notes. And I guess what they're saying in what you've shown me is that because they're only using 5 notes, they'll skip over notes that you expect to hear.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how that's going to play out, and I'm really interested to try and pick it out during a solo section if I can.
Yeah, man, for sure. We're starting to connect the dots. The story is coming out here. We're starting to tell the tale of Japanese jazz. But let's keep jamming because we have a ways to go. And
that's the best way to tell it.
Yeah, man. So that's the thing. We're going to keep playing these songs and talking about like why they sound the way they do. And we'll tell a little bit more of the history and stuff. But next up, let's rock again pretty hard here.
Let's do it.
This one is by Jiro Inagaki and his Soul Media.
Soul Media.
Yeah,
I love that.
So we're going to stay in the same year, 1970 as the last one.
Okay.
This one's from the album called Head Rock, also on the Great Wall of Japan over there. And these guys were like trailblazers of like blending like Western jazz, funk, and like rock with like a Japanese sensibility or something like that. It's like it's pretty cool. Like this is almost like jazz adjacent. It's still jazz, but it's pretty rockin' too. So
okay, all right. I'm interested to hear what you got.
And this one's from one of those J-Jazz series.
Okay.
Yeah. So the guy Yusuke Ogawa knows what's up when he's making these compilations. He has awesome picks, and this one jumped out at me the first time I heard it. I think it might be on actually Vol.1.
Okay.
It's awesome, and this one's called Ground for Peace.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. So what do you think, man? Is that actually jazz?
I mean, it's jazz adjacent, but it's almost more like psychedelic rock.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, with horns, I don't know.
It's fusion, though, right?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I would get on board with fusion. You know what it reminds me of, weirdly enough, is early Floyd, like around More. There's just something very psychedelic, and like they're just grooving out. It's like, yeah, man. I don't know.
Do you think at the shows when they played live, people were like just completely dead silent and like captivated and just like very intently listening and polite, even though, because it's kind of rocking, so I would be raging at that show. But do you think these people in Japan were just like sitting there with their arms folded in their lap, sitting up straight, like in Zen meditation?
God, that's such a weird thought, because like this kind of music seems like you should be really, really stoned to listen to it.
There's like no weed in Japan, though, dude, or any drugs at all, really.
Okay, so wow, they're creating psychedelic sounding music without drug influence.
Well, I mean, I know when Miles Davis went there, he had to bring his own drugs.
Oh, okay.
And they treated him like a god. And actually, you know what? I have a quote that we should play.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so this is from the Miles Davis autobiography, and it's read by an actor, Dion Graham, who totally crushes it. He sounds exactly like Miles Davis, so it might as well be Miles, because it's just like identical to the way he speaks. And this would be cool, because like this kind of gives you the sense of like what an American, like total jazz, giant would think when he came to Japan, because like you were treated like royalty. It's pretty crazy.
Well, I mean, it's Miles Davis, I would assume.
Yeah, but actually not just him. A lot of the other jazz cats said they love Japan. And also, you know what? This quote's from 1964, and at that time, it's the civil rights kind of stuff happening in America. Lots of racism. There's still lots of racism, but back then, obviously, it was like systemic and like institutionalized. So obviously, being black in America was a real big challenge. And like even if you're Miles Davis,
well, and you're in the heart of the struggle at that point. Yeah,
exactly. But you go to Japan, and they don't care about the color of your skin. They care that you're like the man, and that you're amazing at music, and that you've like made their life better. They're not racist like Americans over there, I don't think.
I wonder if they have their own brand or something.
They might. I mean, human beings tend to be racist sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think they cared about like black people. Like they just love Miles Davis, and they rolled out the red carpet for him for sure.
All right. Well, let's hear what he had to say about it.
We traveled to Tokyo to play some concerts over there. It was my first trip to Japan, and Francis went along and learned all about Japanese food and culture. By this time, I had a road manager named Ben Shapiro, so he took a lot of business off my shoulders, like paying the band, getting hotels and flights and shit like that. That left me free to enjoy myself. We played Tokyo and Osaka. I'll never forget my arrival in Japan. Flying to Japan is a long-ass flight, so I brought Coke and sleeping pills with me, and I took both. Then I couldn't go to sleep, so I was drinking, too. When we landed, there were all these people to meet us at the airport. We're getting off the plane, and they're saying, "Welcome to Japan, Miles Davis." And I threw up all over everything. But they didn't miss a beat. They got me some medicine and got me straight and treated me like a king. Man, I had a ball. And I've respected and loved the Japanese people ever since. Beautiful people. They've always treated me great.
So he drinks, does sleeping pills, and does coke on the plane, then pukes everywhere over everyone. And they're still like, rolling out the red carpet for him. It's pretty sweet.
No wonder he liked it so much. They're like, whatever, yeah.
You're a god. We love you. Do as you please.
He's like, I love the Japanese people. They don't get mad at me when I puke on them.
That goes to show that, they really appreciated the art form. So even though he was kind of a fucking nightmare, probably, they were like, we don't care. Go play, because they wanted to hear it, They appreciated him so much.
Well, and from what we heard earlier, a lot of their shit seems to be modeled pretty closely after what he was laying down. So.
Oh, very much so. So the song after this next one, we'll talk more about that for sure.
Okay.
But for the time being, I was thinking about playing some Ryo Fukui.
Oh, he's my favorite.
Do you know him?
No.
Well, it's funny you say that, because if you scroll Instagram on my algorithm, it knows what I like. And I love Japanese jazz. But this guy comes up all the time. This album called Scenery. It's like a profile of his face with the word scenery, like top to bottom vertically. Okay. It's all red and black. And that album has become iconic for like Japanese jazz fans.
Okay.
It's like one of like, you know, the most famous ones. And it's kind of like cool to like that album, right? People have like T-shirts with that shit on it and stuff. So,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, because Japanese jazz has kind of blown up in America too. I'm not the first one to discover it, sadly. I kind of got onto it. Like, I'll post on Reddit every once in a while about Japanese jazz, and the snobs are like, "Buh," like, you know, like this, you're just like a fucking like millennial piece of crap. Like, you're late to the game, dude. And I'm like, okay, whatever, Your Holiness. But you know what I mean? Like,
Well, better late to the game than never.
yeah,
so.
man, for sure. Yeah. But anyway, this guy is very famous for also being self-taught, like Teru Masahino, and he was a big Jasukisa guy.
Okay.
He would go to these places in Sapporo where he lived and just like endlessly listen to music and just like, you know, get it into his veins, into his cells, into his soul, and like reproduce it. So he had no lessons, nothing like that. But he's a good example of how like jazz can be like an authentically local thing, because apparently this guy really like just stayed local. He didn't really go that many places. He never was really that famous, never made that much money. He just kind of like played in his hometown and went to the Jazz Kisa and stuff. And he kind of blew up later, like now, basically, like because you know he wasn't that famous in his own time.
Is he still alive?
That's a good question. I think he died in 2016.
Oh, okay. But he made all right. So he probably lived to see himself become
a little bit,
famous.
probably. Yeah,
Okay.
I would imagine so. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. But this guy's great. This is a trio. It's from the album Mellow Dream, and the song is called Horizon. And hot take, I like this one even more than Scenery, the famous one, honestly. I think it's better.
Okay.
So, you know, people can come witch hunt me.
They're gonna come after you.
Yeah, I think so. But I just think it's better. I don't know. Scenery's a little more mellow. This is a little more like rocking and upbeat and stuff. So, yeah, let's hear some Japanese Ivory here. How about that?
All right, let's do it.
So how many times did you think that song was going to end?
Well, it was an exceedingly long piano solo, but that was a banger. That was a banger, and that little bass solo was pretty awesome too.
Yeah, man. So that's from 1977.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's like for 77, piano trios, kind of subdued in a way, because the piano stuff I listen to is like Herbie Hancock or McCoy Tyner from the era, and they're like playing like ultra fast, and that's like a little more like in the pocket, mellow, dream like kind of.
I don't know about that. That seemed pretty speedy to me, but in a way that it never went off the rails. That's for sure. Yeah.
I mean, like, it's very rootsy. All the instruments sound really good, I feel.
Yeah, well, yeah. I do like the way that it's recorded. And there's something about the bass player being super he stayed real close to the just the dum 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 dum, that basic riff, and he'd walk a little bit and then he'd come right back to it, and it seemed like it tied the whole thing together in a really nice way.
Yeah, like in fact, simplicity is one of the things that makes Japanese jazz authentic.
And you know what? This was the first one that I've heard where I kind of got that pentatonic thing that they were talking about. Like in his piano solo, I could hear parts, especially during like the quote unquote head part of the solo, not the turnaround. If anybody's a dork enough to know what I'm talking about. But like where he would sort of intentionally leave notes out of the scale. And I think that that's what they were talking about, is like he'd only use like 5 notes, and then they'd move into the turnaround and you'd start hearing the jazz scales again. It was really interesting. I think that was a really cool track for a lot of reasons, and I'm stoked about it.
It's 9 minutes long.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah,
okay.
It's pretty crazy. So one of the things that makes Japanese jazz, like, Japanese, in my opinion at least, after having read that book, Blue Nippon, and having done a bunch of research, is that, like, it's like in the 70s in America, what happened to jazz?
Oh, it got cheesy as hell.
Overproduced, really sped up, synth heavy, like too pristine.
Especially into the late 70s, for sure.
Yeah, that's 77, right?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, that's a trio, so it's not like we're kind of comparing apples and oranges a little bit here. But the basic idea is that, like, in Japan, what they heard in America in the 70s was like, just like, that's just too much. It's not like... They've lost the way in a sense, right?
Yeah, right.
And what they did was they returned more to the roots, in my opinion. I like it because, like, it's the same era, it's still jazz, but, like, instead of being cheesy, it's, like, really rootsy and grounded and, like, spiritual and, like, modal. I love modal jazz, by the way.
And that certainly, I think, counts as modal jazz, yeah.
If you're a Jazz Mountain listener, I love modal jazz, like, for sure. So that's one of the things that they did, was like they kept it real in a way. You know what I mean? Like they didn't like venture off into like speed metal jazz, like, but that's how it sounds to me sometimes. But like if you listen to McCoy Tyner from 77, like I have this vinyl Super Trios, which is fucking unbelievable, but like it's just like so fast and like so like all over the place, like they're on cocaine or something like that.
Well, I mean, they were. Yeah. So that kind of makes sense.
And I'm just now realizing that maybe that's why Japanese jazz is the way it is too, because they weren't on drugs back then.
So Japanese jazz is jazz without the drugs? Is that what we're saying?
I like didn't realize that till right now.
Oh my god!
Show.
Oh my god! That's hilarious.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, it makes sense though, because like, so for example, like this is a trio, so we're not comparing like it to fusion because that's kind of apples to oranges, but Japanese jazz fusion is more like rootsy and like subdued and like soulful.
Oh, okay.
Maybe because they weren't sped up, and like they hadn't just done a line at a party or something. That's hilarious. But
So they stay close to the roots of jazz because they're listening to what America's doing, and they're going, I think they're losing the thread.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the authentic Japanese jazz, is like the fusion stuff in a way, because like you can't really like, copy bebop. Charlie Parker already mastered that shit. Like, no one's going to be better than him. But, like, in the 70s, there's these two things in Japanese jazz, apparently. One is called ma, which is the Japanese word for space. so they have space between notes versus like playing really fast. Because in the 70s in America, it was like speed metal, like we said. Okay. And there's also something called, I love this word, wabi-sabi.
Okay. I've heard of wabi-sabi.
And that means like an embracing of the imperfection in a song.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be totally polished and pristine. It can be raw. It can be kind of rough around the edges. You can miss a note or two or leave something out. But that leads to like the aesthetic being more like natural, and raw and kind of like heartfelt or something. I don't know.
That sort of feels like it just describes jazz generally, doesn't it?
Yeah, but like I'm just comparing like American jazz in the late 70s to like Japanese jazz in the late 70s.
And I certainly get that. And I guess I'm just saying, like, I kind of like how they were able to apply a Japanese concept, to something that is very much like an example of that concept.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And say, like, this is an essential component.
Yeah,
like, we need to bring it back. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So and that was just a trio.
Yeah, so we're talking about fusion.
Yeah.
But like the trio kind of brought out that point because even the difference between the trio from 77 from Ryoku Fukui and like, McCoy Tyner, Herbie Hancock, whatever.
Gotcha.
You can even hear it in that.
Yeah.
But maybe these guys who were self-taught could not keep up with them or something, so they had to invent their own way of playing because they couldn't keep up with Herbie Hancock.
Maybe, or maybe they decided that this is what they liked, and that's kind of what I prefer to believe is that they were just like, no, not that, this.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
We gotta play some fusion.
Oh, I get it. Okay, that's what you're building up to.
Yeah, so we're gonna play some Masabumi Kikuchi, who, like, other than Teru Masahino, might be my favorite Japanese jazz cat.
Okay.
This guy's awesome, dude. He also came to America for a while and, heard the music and, like, vibed with people and, like, went back to Japan and also, kind of, like, took what he learned and made it more Japanese, more authentic. He loved Miles Davis.
Oh, wait, so in this case, he came over to the States and learned jazz and brought it back?
Yeah, same thing with Teru Masahino. They both came in, like, their late 60s, early 70s, for sure.
Okay.
And, this album is called Poo-Sun.
Okay.
And his nickname was Poo-Sun or Poo-San. His name's Masabumi, so apparently in Japanese, like, Poo-Sun is kind of like that. But it's actually kind of funny because, in America, it's Poo. And on the cover of the album, he's, like, squatting down.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I've been to Asia. I lived in Thailand. Like, sometimes the toilets are just, like, two little grip pads on either side of a hole. And he just, and it looks like he's doing that. I don't think it's intentional, but it made me laugh. Because I was like, you're saying Poo-san.
Mr. Poo.
Yeah. It's like...
Mr. Poo, and he's squatting. Yeah. Got it.
Check it out. This is one of my top 3 or 4 favorite Japanese jazz albums. And it's amazing. And let's not say too much more until we hear it. But this one is called EJ. Like E period, J period. No idea who EJ is, but it rules.
Okay.
You're going to like this one, man. right. So, what'd you think, man?
Oh my God. Those are two great tracks. Let me just lead off with, I was grooving, I was moving. I loved both of those tracks so hard.
It's rock and roll, brother.
Yeah, there was some great jazz there. And emphasis on jazz, because that first one you implied was more fusion-y, but I beg to differ. I feel like that was straight ahead jazz.
Okay, yeah, we were talking during the song, and I do know what you mean. It's not really fusion, but it reminds me of like the Miles Davis second quintet, where technically it's straight jazz, but they're doing all these subtle weird things to make it kind of like out of the ordinary, and they're playing like different shit, and it all kind of like comes together. Because like, come on, the second quintet is different than the first quintet.
It's insanely experimental. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's experimental.
Yeah.
But how is the second quintet different than the first quintet? If you're talking about Miles Davis,
oh my God, in
so many words. I mean, like for me, it's like it's out. They play out. They don't. Play, it's not expected. Each note, you don't know what's coming. It's really
they lead each other down interesting paths. Whereas first quintet explores what the song structure has to offer, but stays within those bounds. But that track reminded me the most of 80s Branford Marsalis, 80s and 90s Branford Marsalis, which is incredible because you said it was, what, 1970?
Oh, that's from 1970, yeah.
Yeah, so they're predating, the nearest reference I can think of by 20 years. Like they're so ahead of their time in that sense. Like, oh my God. So sounds fantastic. The musicianship is fantastic. And then that second one is really interesting because it does go a little bit more into the fusion realm, but it's got that driving sort of quality to it. I loved it.
I mean, how about the rhythm section on that one with the hand percussion and shit?
Yeah.
It's just like so fucking hot, dude.
Yeah, the hand percussion is great. And I don't know who the bass player is, but he and the drummer, yeah, that's fair enough. But he and the drummer lock in so hard for that second track you just played. Holy shit.
So that was called White Fire by Takao Uematsu. From 77. So the last 5 songs have been like 70, 70, 77, 70, back to 77. So we stayed in the last... So we stayed in the last 7 years back and forth.
So we're bouncing back and forth. Yeah. Got you. Well, yeah, that was a hot track right there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of energy to that one.
I love it. I have the CD, and I can find nothing about him other than like the fact that I can buy his CD for $38 on Discogs or something. Like it's weird. Like, so some of these guys you can find, and some you can't. And this track actually is one of the ones I stole from J-Jazz.
Oh, okay.
One of the ones that once again jumped out to me like immediately. I was like, oh man, that song's sick. And I just like how fast it is and how like upbeat it is, but how not cheesy it is.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, so that's a great comp for me in terms of describing Japanese jazz versus like American jazz in the 70s. I'm just saying 70s.
Yeah.
This is 77.
Yeah.
By 77, most of my favorite artists, like even Herbie Hancock wasn't like. In 77, he was playing some cheesy ass shit, dude. Yeah. Like, for sure. And this shit is like raw, dude.
Hear me out on this, and you're going to maybe think I'm crazy, but did I maybe even hear a little bit of Fela Kuti influence in that
You're
last one?
You're not crazy. I mean, like African music and shit. Yeah. I mean, like
there was something in that. I know it had hand percussion and it makes it sound like I'm just saying that. No, but there was something about the way that phrasing was done that felt very African to me.
Well, hear me out. It's traditional music, right? It's like, like ritual dance music. So a lot of the Japanese folk music is ritual dance music. So it has to have some kind of beat to make people dance. In Africa, a lot of drums, right?
Okay.
And like also like in Africa, they like don't have synthesizers, dude. Like back in the day, like they're
wait a minute.
They're playing like now they do obviously, but like back in the day, like or in Japan, like they had like a flute and a fucking like lute and like a little like drum, and that's the thing. Like they like I think what happened in the 70s was that Japanese musicians heard what was happening with fucking Donald Byrd, which is a travesty because he's amazing, but like actually 77 he was still pretty good, but like by like 83 it was a nightmare. He's great.
Look, you crossed the threshold of 1980, and as we've discussed many times, everything goes to shit.
Yeah, that is true. It's terrible. Although listen to New Jazz That Doesn't Suck. It was pretty good.
Indeed. We found some great cuts from the 80s, but still, yeah.
Know what else doesn't suck is this next song I'm going to play.
Nice. Okay.
So this song is called Alligator Dance
Okay.
by Fumio Itabashi.
It's a great name.
Yeah, it took me forever to find it too because, it's hard to search these names. A lot of them are in characters. It took me like 30 minutes because I love this song. I was like, what the hell is this song called? When I found out it was Alligator Dance, I was like, it's all worth the effort, thank God.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
Thank you, Mountaineers, all of you. And he's a pretty famous dude. Like, he's one of those guys that appears on the Instagram reels a lot, along with like Ruo Fukui and that Scenery album. Watabase is like real famous. But this is not from that. It's from a trio album.
Okay.
And it's amazing. And it's kind of an interesting way to close down the set, I think, because it's a slowdown for sure from the last couple songs. It's a piano trio again.
Okay, and Itabashi is the pianist, I take
Yes,
it? Okay.
yes. And yeah, I think I've forgotten to say the instrument of the person I'm describing a couple times.
Oh, that's fine. I
So-
mean, but like, it's always interesting to think about like who does the composition
For
and what
sure.
instrument they play.
Yeah,
So this
so-
is pianist is the composer here.
For sure. And
Yeah.
just to go back, I think I forgot to say Ryo Fukui was a piano player too.
Oh, okay, okay.
And Masabami Kikuchi is also a piano player. So we're
Got
on a
it.
piano
Okay.
run right now.
Oh, we are okay.
Yeah. So this guy is known for like really intense live performances where he's like super emotional and just like really energetic and stuff.
Okay.
And like I think he's kind of like a wayward kind of guy because like he never really wanted to be a part of the scene. People try to compare him to American jazz. And he was like, fuck you. And people were like, he's authentically Japanese. He was like, fuck you. And like he just like teaches and like doesn't play that much. And like he just seems kind of like a recluse, like
He's like a renegade.
yeah, like from America, like maybe like
Like Mingus. You mean?
Mingus, yeah, dude.
or Monk or
Yeah,
one of
Mingus
these
or
guys.
Monk.
Okay.
Totally, that's a
Okay.
great comp. Yeah, this guy seems kind of out there.
All right.
And this is a piano trio, and it's like 10 minutes long, but it's fucking awesome.
Okay.
It's gonna close the set, so get ready for an epic, very heartfelt, magical tune.
All right. Well, in that case, let's close the set with some awesomeness.
All right, this is Jazz Mountains turning Japanese out. We love you guys. All right, so like how emotional is that song, right?
I know. I mean, the intensity level is insane.
You can see what they're talking about when they say he's like famous for like his performances that are like really dramatic and like just like he's sweating all over the keys and like, you know, standing up and like shaking and shit. Like that's how they describe him live. Apparently he's like unreal.
It sounds like I would have put on an awesome show. That recording was incredible.
The drummer is like on point.
Oh, absolutely. 100% on point. The whole thing, it felt compelling.
Yeah, compelling. It feels deep. It feels like mystical and like
Yeah.
like the way he strikes the notes is so cool to me. Like it's like not only does he strike him hard, but he strikes him like towards the end of like the beat or something, and it reminds me.
I see what you're talking about. I know where you're going. It sounds like McCoy Tyner.
Yeah,
like especially like
yeah.
you know, during the Coltrane years with him. Yeah. McCoy Tyner. Yeah, I felt the same way. And, you know, I mean, obviously, like, it's a modal jazz sort of open chord format. So, like, you know, the comparison's easy. But still, and I got to say, whoever's on drums does a fucking fantabulous job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes you to that place in your soul that's just like so ready for something like that or something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's like this like really like deep core kind of like, oh, like life is like so intense and sad and happy at the same time or something. It's like a really weird vibe. Like I really like that kind of like epic, deep kind of like. Kind
It's
of
got
feel.
it's got a big feel to it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So is that rounds it out, right?
That's the set, dude. What'd you think?
I thought you found some really insane, awesome jazz, dude. You did a fantastic job.
That's rock and roll, brother.
Yeah. I am genuinely impressed.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, seriously.
That's why, like, when you texted me, like, can I be a part of the Japanese jazz special? I was like, I thought you'd never ask. Like, because, like, you know, like, I just thought it was my thing. But you know, because, like, I was, like, getting really into it. I wasn't sure if you were into it. So I wasn't going to be like, hey, listen to a bunch of Japanese jazz and we'll do roulette because that's a lot to ask from you.
No,
you
this
know?
shit is fantastic. Yeah. Like, you found some really great stuff.
And here's the thing. This is just the beginning because I found stuff like this and I was like, oh, this is cool. Then every song on every album is awesome. So you got all these albums.
I know. I can't wait to dig
and then
in.
Who plays in those albums and like look up on you know, Instagram and YouTube and stuff. Like, and actually, like I'd say like, I don't know, like only like 30% of the good shit is on like Spotify and Amazon Music. It's all on YouTube. Okay. We have to order CDs.
Good to know.
I had to order a vinyl to hear it. There was one song on this one fucking awesome album on YouTube, and it was 10 minutes, and I looked at the vinyl, I was like, I have to have it. And I paid $100 for it. And
you
it was,
paid $100 for one of these vinyls?
It was like fucking pristine, and no one has this record, and it's fucking unbelievable. George Ostuka Quintets. That's coming on the next Japanese jazz special.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay, wait, let me get this straight. We just did a whole, hour and 15 minutes of music worth of a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And you spent $100 on a vinyl and didn't even spin a track from it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This goes deep.
Goes real deep. Yeah, that's good. I went through the portal and I've like never looked back, dude. It's exactly what I want in music.
Yeah. I mean, you really like you found shit that runs the gamut of the jazz world in ways that just open up whole new doors. I'm really excited.
What % cheese did you hear tonight?
0.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
literally 0.
Yeah.
I did not hear any cheese tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that perfectly.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah.
It's everything I like about jazz. It's the fast, intense, like really good musicianship, kind of modally, kind of out there, kind of trippy. But like in America, like that shit is amazing, but it's cheesy. And in Japan, like it's just like raw.
And here's the other thing. Everything that you played tonight felt experimental in some way to me. Like, I feel like everything you played, like, pushed some sort of envelope forward, you know, like it really, like there were these are people figuring something out.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's because they didn't have formal training. They didn't have the original standard of jazz. They didn't have like the root like of a plant. Like they're like a grafter or a clone or whatever, you know. So they don't have like the root kind of thing.
It starts it in a whole new direction.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like it's like like rediscovery. I don't know. There's a whole different kind of atmosphere to the stuff that you played tonight. So I'm really excited to dig in and hear some more of this.
So next show, Turning Japanese Volume 2, is going to be a roulette show.
Okay.
Over my dead body, you're going to get into some of this shit and pick some shit and push my boundaries.
Okay.
I've done enough, DJ Greg.
Okay. All right. You want me to do some of the work? Damn it, dude.
No, I'm happy to have you listen to all my favorite songs. It's totally fine, actually. It was actually kind of nice.
Worked out well for me.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think we can do whatever. I mean, like, I think maybe I'll do one more and then you can get into it. Because I have another one in the works, obviously, because I'm DJ BenZen. But
and for what it's
soon.
worth, I do also have a little bit of a thought of something we could do.
Okay.
So, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we got one more. I'm going to say one thing about this song. It's a celebration. It's just such a fun vibe, dude. Listen to this shit. It's so cool. Okay. It's called Phoebus, which means like the Greek god of the sun, basically.
Oh,
and it's by some guy you cannot find jack shit on the internet. It's Hiroshi Murakami and Dancing Sphinx. And the album cover is this like cat that looks like it's made out of clay or AI, but it's like back in like 78. So it makes no sense. It's a weird album cover.
Yeah.
And I found this on the J Jazz series too. So,
okay.
Yeah, this one's from Volume 4. And it wails. So
Thanks
so much for joining, dude.
Thank you so much for having me for this, dude. I am like so excited that you've introduced me to a whole new world here.
Yeah, the doors keep opening too. There's so much good jazz from Japan. It's insane.
Did you hear that, guys? There's so much good jazz out there. So get working.
Listen to Jazz Mountain. I'm your spirit guide. Good night.